From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 7, streaming now.
Now at 7, a single-day record of COVID-19 cases in Indiana, 2 weeks after the state moved to phase 5 of reopening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Amanda Starrentino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. The latest numbers from the State Department of Health show an additional 1,832 positive COVID-19 cases. Those cases were reported to the department between Wednesday and Thursday of this week, and it's the highest number we've seen since the pandemic began. 19 additional deaths were also reported, bringing the total to 3,534. 9% of Hoosiers who have gotten tested for COVID for the first time are testing positive, a rate that has been steadily increasing.
And President Trump is planning a campaign rally for tomorrow at the White House, while aides will not say when he last tested positive for COVID-19. The White House itself remains a COVID-19 hotspot. ABC News has confirmed 2 more members of the White House residents tested positive for COVID nearly 3 weeks ago, bringing the number of residential staff who tested positive at that time to at least 4. And more reasons for you to plan to vote and get it done. A week after an extension, the deadline for absentee ballots is now tied up in court. WRTV's Cornelius Hawker shares this story with us tonight, so you don't end up missing out on the chance to exercise your right to vote.
More people than usual have decided to vote early in this election, and Erin Kelly with the League of Women Voters of Indianapolis tells me that's a good thing.
Every year we encourage voters to make a voting plan, but this year in particular it is so important. The pandemic, of course, is one issue, but then all these changes that seem to keep happening with what Hoosier voters are being told they can and can't do.
The most recent change, a federal court has stayed a decision we told you about last week, which extended the deadline for mail-in ballots to reach their destination as long as they're postmarked by Election Day. But Thursday afternoon, Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill appealed that decision, and until a circuit court considers it, the original deadline stands. Mail-in ballots must reach election offices by noon on Election Day. If you have questions, there are people in your community who have answers.
Reach out to your county election board, use services like vote411.org by the League of Women Voters, or just reach out to any kind of nonpartisan civic organization in your community, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
My best advice to voters is to, if you plan to vote by mail, get that ballot and get it back.
That's Julia Vaughn, Policy Director for Common Cause Indiana. They're the nonpartisan organization that sued to have the absentee ballot deadline extended. Slower mail delivery with the United States Postal Service is one of the main reasons why this lawsuit was filed.
We can't control the mail. We don't have any control over that ballot once we let it go in the mail slot.
So while this issue goes through the court system, both Julia and Erin agree. Make a plan on how you're going to vote so you don't miss out on casting your ballot. Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
In a statement, Attorney General Hill says the noon Election Day deadline set by the General Assembly is reasonable because it allows most races to be called on Election Day, ensuring there's public confidence in how we vote. The Postal Service recommends giving your ballot a week to arrive by mail. That means you should send yours back before October 27th. You can also drop off absentee ballots in person at your county's election office. And remember, early voting is underway across the state. To learn more about casting your ballot, including deadlines and candidate profiles, head to WRTV.com/election2020. Kyle.
Feeling a little more summer-like out there across central Indiana this afternoon. Our high temperature in Indianapolis, 84 degrees, a lot closer to the record than the average of 68. There's the record high. Missed it just by 4 degrees this afternoon, even as the clouds started to move in. We look across central Indiana right now. We've got temperatures well into the 70s, still several 80s out there. Thorntown at 80, 81 for you in Lafayette. It is 78 degrees in Bloomington. It has been a little breezy today, and still we have that south wind downtown at 20 miles per hour with some higher gusts and that humidity at just 45%. So it will stay breezy for us this evening. We'll have those partly cloudy skies to mostly cloudy conditions, but no threat of rain in that forecast. So once again, we're not going to need the umbrella, but it's good weather for your Friday evening plans. Temperatures still around 70 here as we get to 10 o'clock. October continuing to build on what has been a very dry stretch of weather. We're approaching about an inch deficit in rainfall. We'll talk about some rain chances ahead for the weekend in just a few minutes.
The Carmel Police Department is making changes to its body cameras in part because of what happened in this July incident that we're showing you, during which a Carmel police officer shot and killed a suspect. The video right there. The body camera didn't show what happened because the camera became dislodged and fell to the ground. It's a problem WRTV Investigates Kara Kenny has been tracking for the past 2 years within police departments across the state. We do want to warn you, some of the video in this investigation may be disturbing.
The point of body cameras is to capture key moments of police interaction. Many departments use them to improve transparency and trust with the community. But WRTV Investigates has found body cams can come off during critical seconds. In July, a Carmel police officer's body camera is rolling as he begins to chase a man suspected of shooting his girlfriend and her mom. The officer's gun knocks his body camera upside down, and then during the chase, it falls to the ground. It remains on the ground as the officer shoots the suspect, only capturing audio. WRTV Investigates uncovered this problem of body cameras becoming dislodged back in 2018. It happened in Muncie when 2 officers' body cameras fell to the ground as they punched and tased a handcuffed suspect. Other agencies have had the same problem with body cameras falling off.
I don't know which one's which. It's yours.
Baton Rouge police took heat for the deadly shooting of Alton Sterling. Officers' body cameras became dislodged during that incident. To address this, some Central Indiana police departments like Lawrence use this kind of body camera where it's fastened inside the uniform. Carmel uses a magnetic mount system. Following the July incident, the agency announced they're ordering new mounts through their vendor Axon. Mounts redesigned to reduce the chance of a camera getting knocked out. Carmel's new mounts pinch the shirt's fabric around the outside, which helps lock it into place.
But there's no perfect or ideal solution. So, for example,
Dr. Jeremy Carter is the Director of Criminal Justice and Public Safety for the O'Neill School of Public Affairs at IUPUI and says even the body cameras zipped into uniforms can have problems with obstructed video and distorted audio.
There are some that attach to hats or around different areas of the officer. And again, they all come with pros and cons in terms of what kind of view shed can you get, what kind of audio. And that's typically why you see it mounted to the chest, is because that is usually the best location for the camera in terms of what it captures, what it can hear. But unfortunately, if you're running, if you're wrestling with someone, I mean, the likelihood of it getting knocked off is the reality.
He's helped IMPD with its body camera program. IMPD recently launched body cameras that fasten inside. WRTV Investigates reached out to Axon, who told us they offer many different mounting options. Some mounting options are magnetic and are meant to break away by design so that a subject cannot use the camera or mount to pull the officer toward them. Other mounting options require more force to break away from the officer or uniform, as they're designed to have higher retention to the uniform. We are continually working with customers to improve upon our mounting options. Your tax dollars pay for body cameras. They cost around $50,000 to $100,000 a year, depending on the size of the police agency and the type of service. But like anything, it's not a perfect system. Working for you, Kara Kenny, WRTV.
Axon, a company which supplies body cameras to many agencies in central Indiana, went on to tell us, quote, although Axon products perform at the highest level in the industry, use of force incidents are dynamic and fluid in nature, and all outcomes can be predictable. Axon prioritizes the safety of our customers and the people they serve above all else, which is why we remain committed to developing technology and training to protect life in public safety, end quote.
A stunning amount of women did not get screened for this deadly disease when they should have this year. The effects of the pandemic on breast cancer screenings coming up.
And while this pandemic has hit some so hard they can't pay their rent, it's also putting everyday people who also serve as landlords in a really tight spot. The obstacles they're facing still ahead when the news continues on WRTV.
The number of people struggling to pay rent continues to go up, but But landlords are sounding the alarm too, saying they simply cannot pay bills. Some landlords are everyday people who tell Alicia Nieves they're not in favor of putting anyone out on the streets, so they need help from the government.
Jerry Cheslow and his wife have spent the last 25 years slowly acquiring a handful of properties in New Jersey. Each property an affordable home for another family, and the Cheslows' version of a pension plan.
I wanted them to provide retirement for my wife and myself.
The Cheslows put much of their savings into each property, and now eviction moratoriums have put much of what they've worked for at risk.
When the eviction moratorium went into place, I saw it as extremely temporary. I thought 2 months and it's gone. And 2 months was something that I could weather.
But it's been 6 months, and Cheslow is not receiving rent from 3 out of his 8 properties. One tenant has not paid since the first moratorium went into place in March.
How concerned am I? I'm very concerned because, this was supposed to be my retirement, and suddenly it begins to unravel. Me and so many other landlords like me, we are being forced to carry the weight of everybody's living expenses on our backs.
For a 72-year-old who was about to retire this year, it's too much.
This was supposed to be part of my retirement, and right now it's a drain. And it's not fair. It's not fair, and it will destroy the backbone of affordable housing in the United States.
Brookings Institute estimates that individual small property owners like Cheslow own 40% of all residential rentals in the U.S. More than half of these landlords entered the pandemic without enough saved up money to pay mortgages in a situation like a pandemic.
There really needs to be some form of direct rental assistance, both to get these tenants out from under the huge debts that are accruing for not paying rent over several months, and to also pay the landlords.
Derek Reed is a New Jersey lawyer who represents small and large property owners in the state. He's been advocating for Congress to fund the eviction moratorium with stimulus money for rent. But just this week, President Trump ordered his negotiators to halt all talks over a new stimulus bill.
Well, when you're not talking about it, it's real people. It's real people. It's people who don't have food, don't have enough to live, and it's housing providers who may not have enough to pay the mortgages or may not have enough to keep properties that they've worked 25 years to acquire.
I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
A warm 80 degrees in Indianapolis right now, and there is more warmth coming our way from the Central Plains states when some of that cool Canadian air will filter back in. You're watching WRTV News at 7.
Welcome back to the News at 7 on WRTV. Kyle Mounts joins us live with a look at our forecast, and it looks kind of cloudy out there, Kyle.
Yeah, the clouds moving in on the periphery there of Delta, which is making landfall in Louisiana. We'll show you that more here in a little bit, but it will give us some character to our sunset, which is getting underway right now. We got a warm temperature, 80 degrees in Indy as well as Muncie, here at 79 in Shelbyville and 76 in Kokomo. We mentioned it's been a breezy day, and you still can see those winds generally about 10 to 15 miles per hour, but even in downtown Indianapolis, that 20-mile-per-hour wind. Now, what that and the blanketed cloud cover will do for us tonight is keep us very warm for this time of year. 61 will be the overnight temperature. Keep in mind our average high is 68 degrees, so not too far from that here. As we look the satellite and radar, we take you down to the Gulf Coast, and here is Hurricane Delta, which is making landfall now, spreading that rain across Louisiana. It's a Category 2 hurricane with winds of 105 miles per hour. Here's a look at TrueCast. As we go through the upcoming weekend, you can see it will be making progress toward the Ohio Valley, but as soon as it gets to about the Ohio River, it starts to take that hard turn to the right. So at this point, looks like we may not see much rainfall out of this system, especially from Indianapolis and areas to the northwest. Sunday rainfall chances only about 20% throughout the day. Saturday, going to be a beautiful day for us. Amanda mentioned those clouds moving in. We are going to have mostly cloudy skies for us. That'll be a little bit of a change in the forecast. Temperature 73 for you at noon. Still, though, unseasonably mild as we get to around 80 and a little bit of that breeze going into the afternoon. Southwest wind around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Your high 83 in Lafayette, where we've got a little thicker cloud cover. South and eastern locations, we'll see those temperatures a little closer to the upper 70s to right around 80 degrees. And here's that Sunday forecast. Again, no surprise here. We're going to have more cloud cover around, another mild start with temperatures in the 60s, and we'll get into the middle 70s. So if you're going to be heading out and checking out some of that patchy fall color that we have, some pretty nice weather coming our way over the next couple of days. We're mild to start off our Monday morning as well. We're going to have a cold front that moves through Monday afternoon and evening. That'll bring the chance for some showers, about a 30% chance of rain, possibly even a couple of thunderstorms in that system. So we'll watch that for you. Behind that system, it gets a little bit cooler. Still not bad, though. We got highs in the 70s through Thursday. There's where we get some of that cooler Canadian air, though, by Friday. Highs that will only manage into the lower 60s.
Kyle, thank you. The COVID-19 pandemic is having an indirect impact on the health of Americans. People out of work or struggling in this tough economy are turning to strangers for life-saving medications. Before the pandemic, 1 in 4 people admitted rationing insulin because of the cost. A survey from the University of Utah showed 56% of people donated insulin to others last year. Doctors expect that number to be much higher this year. The American Diabetes Association says 18% of people with diabetes are unemployed, compared to a national unemployment rate of less than 10%.
Breast cancer is expected to kill more than 42,000 women this year alone, according to the American Cancer Society. But one recent study shows many were avoiding screenings during the early weeks of the pandemic. Now, during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, doctors are urging women to get checked. Mandy Gaither has more in today's Health Minute.
Early detection can save lives. That's why screenings like mammograms are so important.
I think it's very important that we all get back to the business of staying healthy.
Through the pandemic, routine doctor's visits have gone down. One May study estimates that screenings for cervical, colon, and breast cancer fell by at least 86% in March, as many elective medical procedures, including screenings, were put on hold to focus on urgent needs and reduce the risk of spreading COVID-19. Now, many healthcare facilities are starting to offer screenings again, and OBGYN Dr. Sujatha Reddy hopes women will get them.
I know a lot of people are fearful of coming to the doctor, going to the hospital, but I want to reassure people there are lots of precautions that are being taken, and I think it is very, very safe to go get a mammogram or go get a checkup with your provider.
Dr. Reddy says it's more dangerous now to put off those screenings. Another part of prevention, lowering your risk.
You know, you can't control your genes, but you can control your lifestyle. And a lot of risk factors for breast cancer are lifestyle dependent. You know, things like staying a healthy weight, maintaining that weight, being active, and limiting alcohol consumption are all things people can control.
I'm Mandy Gaither reporting.
It's a push to support some of the best-known attractions in Indianapolis that have been hit hard by the pandemic. Visit Indy has unveiled the Indy Attraction Pass. It's one ticket that can get you into the Children's Museum of Indianapolis, Conner Prairie, the Idle-Jorg Museum, the Indiana State Museum, and the Indianapolis Zoo. Nate Swick with Visit Indy says it's a fun, safe, and budget-friendly way to get out into the community.
And this is a great way to experience that while also getting out and helping the hospitality community, because like I said, we think this will drive visitors to the attractions, but also if you go to the museum, then you might stay downtown at a hotel, or you might also go to a restaurant, which also all need the help right now.
The one-day pass is $42 for children and $52 for ages 13 and above. A 3-day pass is also available.
And you got some nice weather this weekend to check out those attractions. We got temperatures around 80 tomorrow. We'll have some more cloud cover, 77 on Sunday, with about a 20% chance of rain. A little better chance of some wet weather coming our way on Monday. A couple of storms there. Following that, we cool things down a bit.
Beautiful view of the approaching sunset here during the 7 o'clock hour. We're back with you tonight after the game. We'll see you then.